Hello everyone, thanks so much for listening to Diz Connected, an unofficial Disney podcast of magical proportions. I'm Whit Laxon, your Disney enthusiast host, and coming up...
we went to Disneyland and D23 EXPO.
I got arrested by some stormtroopers.
Oh, yes you did.
Oh... I'd been waiting to see World of Color for so long. I rose to my feet. I said, Hillary! Best moment of my life. Not even kidding.
And she asked him, are you going to play Obi-Wan Kenobi again? And he just turns to the audience and he's like, yes.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Whit, back for another episode of Diz Connected, and joining me as always via Skype is my friend and fellow Disney enthusiast, Katie Carter. Hey Katie.
Hey Whit.
Hey, so Katie, oh my goodness, we are still recovering from this awesome trip we went on recently, and you know, we revealed where we were going in the last episode, so in case anyone missed that though, where did we go, Katie? What did we do?
We went to Disneyland and D23 EXPO, and it was amazing.
We did. It was amazing. And I should just say, like, I'll just tease ahead. August 23rd, 2019 might go down as one of the best days of my life. And you will hear why very soon. Very soon.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. But it really was like one of the best experiences I've ever had. It was truly the best thing. Both Disneyland and D23. But D23 specifically was just like, it exceeded all my expectations. 100%. Loved it. We'll talk about D23 EXPO in a bit. I'd love to start with our trip to Disneyland. This was my first time at Disneyland. Katie, you and this park go way back. You did the Disney College program several years ago. So this was like going back home for you. Of course, Galaxy's Edge was new, but I'll just share my, reaction from my first trip. And I would just say at first it was weird. Like it was a lot to sort of adjust to with being smaller than Walt Disney World. And then I was so confused about how there was this city outside of Disneyland, like when you leave, whereas Walt Disney World, it's all just kind of in this hub of parks and you take the shuttle buses everywhere. So that was strange. But in the end, I really feel like the size, the intimacy of it all, just it works in its advantage. And I loved it. And there is truly something special about both Disneyland, DCA, that whole little area, downtown Disney. I really, really love Disneyland.
I'm so glad to hear you say that because it's my favorite, and I've probably said this before, but I definitely prefer Disneyland to Walt Disney World. Not that, Disney World isn't great, because it is, but yeah, it feels really special. And of course, Disneyland is the only park that Walt Disney ever actually set foot in. It's, the original Disney park. There's so much history there, and there are still original attractions from opening day in 1955 still there, and it's just really special. So I'm really glad that you enjoyed it. I
did, and I have post-Disney depression, and it's just, it's a thing. It's a thing. Yeah. Okay, so one of the first things that we did was go to Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah. It wasn't the first thing.
It wasn't the first thing. You were getting a little anxious.
We took our time a bit getting there, which was okay.
Sorry.
Okay. I mean, it was partly my fault, but...
Well, I needed to, experience the castle first, which was great. I loved Sleeping Beauty Castle. And then we did Peter Pan's Flight while there was, a 15-minute wait time, because when are you ever going to get that short of a wait time for that ride? But we eventually got to Galaxy's Edge pretty quickly. And... yeah, I got to experience that with you, the ultimate Star Wars fan here. And I think you really liked it, huh?
I think that's an understatement. I really loved it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just so immersive. I mean, you keep hearing that word thrown around in regards to this park over and over again, but it really is. And I felt, I went back there. We were in the parks for 3 full days, and I think I definitely spent more time there than you did, but I kept going back and just standing around and looking around and playing around on the little data pad app that they have that you can download on your phones. Like, there's just so much to do and hear and see, and it's just really great.
Yeah. I mean, I am not as big of a Star Wars fan as you. I would just call myself an average Star Wars fan, but I loved it too, and especially at night. Like, I
Oh,
love
it's beautiful.
the feeling of being there at night.
Yeah, it's beautiful the way they have, the spires all lit up, and we watched the fireworks there one night. Well, I watched it there 2 nights because I was just so blown away by that. And it's definitely my new favorite place to watch fireworks in Disneyland. And I feel like maybe a lot of people haven't really figured that out yet because it was not crowded at all. Like, they had a little area marked off to watch them in, but there really weren't any people there. It was just so beautiful to see them, explode over the Falcon, and it was really cool.
Yeah, I did the fireworks in Galaxy's Edge and in front of the castle, and they were way better in front of Galaxy's Edge. Okay, so we went there. We did Smuggler's Run pretty quickly. How many times did you end up riding that?
I think I rode it 5 times total. So I rode it twice with you, and then the other times I went through the single rider line and did it.
Right. And one time I broke down, so we kind of got to do it like 1.5 times.
5.5 times.
Yeah. And you got to do all 3 positions on the Falcon.
I did. So we were gunners first, and then the next 3 times I rode it, I was the engineer. And both those positions are fine. The engineer, you're basically just mashing buttons. You're sitting in like the back row. There are 3 rows in the cockpit. The last time I went, it was like so perfect. I was trying so hard to be pilot. I just wanted to do it once just to see what it was like. And I got in line. It was literally like 10 minutes before the park closed. It's going to be my last time riding it for this trip. And I kind of figured out as we were like doing this over and over again how they were distributing the credentials for what position you get, because they seem to go in order, like pilot, gunner, engineer, the way your group goes in. And I was not the first person in there. I was like the 4th person in the group. So I was like, oh, I'm getting like gunner or something again. I'm not getting pilot. And I looked at my card and it was pilot. And I could not believe it. It was like so perfect. And then I had to ruin this child's night because we were waiting in the little area where your group waits before they actually put you in the cockpit, where like the Dejaric table and all of that is. And this boy, he wasn't like a really little boy. He was maybe like 10. He was old enough to go through the single rider line by himself. But he came up to me, and I just knew as soon as he walked up to me where this conversation was going. And he was like, oh, what group are you in? Are we the same color? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I got engineer. What did you get? And I was like, oh, I got pilot. And he was like, oh, I've never been pilot. Do you want to switch? And I was like, I've never been pilot either, actually. So, and he was just like, aw, well, darn. And he walked away. And it was a little sad. And I felt a little bad. But you know what? It turned out fine because the other guy who got pilot switched with him.
Aw,
so it was fine. And that guy was like, the cast members were like, oh, you're like so nice. That's so nice of you. And I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
No, you didn't have to be nice. Whatever, for real. I really enjoyed Smuggler's Run the 2 times that I did it, and there's a lot happening, I will say. I mean, you have to, watch what's happening in front of you, but then also you have to push all these buttons to help, save the day or whatever is going on there.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you're going on this run for Hondo, who, if you are familiar with any of the Star Wars animation, you know who Hondo Ohnaka is. He's great. But you're basically stealing coaxium. I believe you're stealing it for the Resistance, actually. I could be totally wrong on that. But, yeah, so that's kind of like your mission, and it's, screen projectors. So you go up into space, you fly over Batuu, you go, I forget where you go to steal it exactly. But, yeah, there's definitely a lot to look at, a lot of things to dodge, and, it's cool to just be able to sit there and kind of get the experience of riding. But like you said, you also have this other stuff to pay attention to. So I definitely do recommend riding it more than once just to kind of like really get the experience. Because I think the first time that we rode it, I just felt super overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But it's really fun. It's super fun.
Yeah. And right now, that's really the only ride/attraction in that area. We went to the cantina, though, which was cool.
It was fun. DJ Rex. One of the first things I said when we were in there was the music is so good. It's so good. And they actually, like, the Friday of that week at D23, they released the, playlist on iTunes to purchase. So I bought that really fast. So I'm really happy that came out because it was so good. The drinks were good. They were fun.
The company was nice.
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah. I think our company in there, they'd been in there for a little while, or maybe more than once or twice.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I tried the blue milk inside the cantina, and apparently it has a different texture, at least, to the blue milk outside. And I described it as watered down, like a watered down Danimal or drink yogurt.
Sounds
I wasn't
terrible.
really loving it. Yeah.
That
But the
sounds terrible.
others, like the blue and green milk outside, you were saying tastes more like an icy.
Yeah, it is, which I was expecting more of the texture like you were describing, the one in the cantina, which I didn't try that one, so I really can't compare the two. But yeah, I mean, the taste was fine, but I was just not expecting that consistency at all. That was super weird. But I tried both the blue milk and the green milk, and they're fine. They're kind of strange. I honestly can't even begin to describe exactly what they taste like. I think the green milk, I said, was kind of like floral, and I don't even remember what the blue milk was now. But
Yeah.
I mean, they were fine. I drank them all, so.
Right. And then two of the coolest things we also did in Galaxy's Edge, you built a lightsaber and a droid. I got to watch you do both of those things. The lightsaber was honestly one of the highlights of the whole trip for me. It was so cool, that whole thing.
It was so great. And honestly, that was, like, I knew I really wanted to build a droid. I love droids. But the lightsaber was something I was really on the fence about for a long time. But I just kept hearing other people saying, if you're a Star Wars fan, this is such a cool experience. I teared up at the end. It was so amazing. And I kept hearing that. And I was just like, you know, I got to do it. Got to see what it's about. And it was really beautiful. I mean, it was maybe like a 10 to 15 minute experience, you know, once you're in the room. But it was just so cool. I mean, they talk about, you know, the Force and all these different Jedi who have wielded these different colored lightsabers, and, you know, they get that Force theme playing, and it's just really emotional. I honestly did have tears like streaming down my face while the guy was talking. It was really great.
I had chills.
Yeah,
I had chills.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. And the lightsaber is really great quality too. Like, I'm just so happy with how it came out and everything.
Right.
So.
But just a word of caution, you may want to do that as like the last thing of your day at Disneyland.
It's really big to carry around. Like, they give you a case for it, but it's really, really long, and there's not really any place to store it at, as far as I know. But I don't know. I mean, I didn't tell you this, but when I rode Splash Mountain, there's some guy who brought his lightsaber on that ride. So if you want to try that, you know, Godspeed. But
Yeah.
I would not recommend taking your $200 lightsaber on Splash Mountain. Anyway.
Yeah, Katie went all the way back to her hotel.
It was fine. You know, got a nice little walk in.
Yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it. And the droid was fun too.
That was really fun too. Yeah, it was kind of overwhelming. There are so many different options, different parts and colors and all of that. And but it was really cool to put that together and see it come to life. And I will say, I'm left-handed. The way that the drills were oriented on the thing were not convenient for a left-handed person, but it was fine. It worked out. But yeah, it's really great. And when we were walking around for a little bit afterwards in the land, the droid really does interact with the land. Like, it was just kind of randomly like beeping and booping and turning its head. And so that was really cool. Like, I noticed as we were leaving, we were walking kind of past that first order area, and it kind of started making all these noises. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Carl.
Yeah,
Katie
really
named
cool.
her droid Carl.
Carl.
Yeah, it's cute. It was cute. We also saw characters walking around, which was really great because there aren't character meet and greet spots. They just kind of roam and you randomly walk up on them. And Rey we saw like randomly. That was cool. Chewie was out a lot.
Yeah.
Very funny.
I mean,
And
we really
you saw
ran into like
someone-
everybody.
Yeah. You saw someone
We
who
saw
is in the books.
Vi, who is the Resistance spy. She's in the Black Spire book that just came out. But I was not expecting to see her. We just kind of walked by her while we were cutting through the land. So that was really cool. And I kind of just waved to her, and she just immediately turned around and was like, you know, walk with me. And she kind of took me on a little walk and all of that. And so, yeah, it was really fun to, you know, just see how those characters interacted with their surroundings in a situation that was not like a formal meet and greet. Like that night we saw Chewbacca and he was like trying to get food from the Ronto roasters and kind of threw a fit, and that was really funny. And you know, it's just cool to see stuff like that. It makes it more special.
Kylo Ren was there too, and I got arrested by some stormtroopers.
Oh, yes, you did.
Oh, I don't even know what to say about that. But anyway, they were basically just, I mean, I was not even paying attention, and here they came and started walking me away, and then, they said I was under arrest.
We were like not engaging with them at all. We were just standing to the side, and then we turned around and was like, oh, hey.
I thought they were coming for you, and then they came for me, so yeah. But overall, I loved Galaxy's Edge. 10 for 10 would recommend. It's open in Hollywood Studios now at Walt Disney World, so I'll get to experience it again this spring when I visit there. And I hate to move on, Katie, because I know you just love Galaxy's Edge so much. But any final thoughts?
It's great. If you're a Star Wars fan, you'll love it. There's so many cool details. I do recommend downloading that Play Disney Parks app if you have time to kind of mess around with that a bit. There's some really cool stuff that you can interact with the land in with that. And also, I just like the sound and the music. I can't get over just hearing like the ships overhead and the music as you enter that tunnel from Frontierland to enter the land. It's so beautiful. The chimes. I love it. It's great.
Yep.
I miss it. I want to go back.
Yeah. Well, some other Disneyland trip highlights. World of Color. Oh, I'd been waiting to see World of Color for so long. Loved it. I will say Fantasmic was a huge surprise for me because I didn't really even know that it was just out there.
Rivers of America.
Rivers of America, yeah. I didn't realize that's where Fantasmic was because at Hollywood Studios, it's in this big stadium area. And there it is at Disneyland. You're just all standing around right there, and that's where it happens. You were so close. It was so good. It's so much better than the Hollywood Studios one. Sorry. But why do I even want to apologize for that? But it's great. The dragon... Oh my goodness, amazing. And the Pirates of the Caribbean ship that comes around, I was just, wow. I was like, yes.
Yeah, it was so good. I hadn't watched it there in a long time because the last time I went to Disneyland was in July 2017 for that D23 EXPO. And Fantasmic was only just about to reopen after having been closed. That whole area was kind of closed for a bit while they were doing construction on Galaxy's Edge. So it'd been, at least a few years since I'd watched it, and I kind of forgot how great it was. We got fast passes, and we did get, in a really good spot, so we were really close. I keep getting the music stuck in my head still. I was walking around the other day. I know. I finally got it out of my head, and then I was walking around the other day, and I saw this girl with a Fantasia backpack, and I was like, oh no, here it comes again. So, it's fine. It's not a bad problem to have.
I loved it. Over at DCA, Disney California Adventure, I freaking loved the Incredicoaster, which used to be California Screamin'. But I had never been on a roller coaster, actually, that went upside down. So that was great. And it was fun. We did that 2 times? Yeah.
We did it twice, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of the Pixar overlay at what used to be Paradise Pier is now Pixar Pier?
It's fine. I mean, I still really liked Paradise Pier. I think they're kind of starting to get away from that whole, the whole land is supposed to be California themed, of course. And I feel like they're slightly getting away from that with, adding things like Marvel, that Marvel land's coming to DCA. But they did a good job, retheming the attractions that were already there and adding new touches to, represent all of these great characters and movies from Pixar. And, it still did have the same feel that Paradise Pier had of walking along, an old-fashioned boardwalk. So I didn't hate it. I think it was nice, and I was really impressed with the restaurant that we ate at that's there, the Lamplight Lounge. That was great. Yes. We sat on the little porch right on the water. It was beautiful. Had a nice view of the Fun Wheel, which has a new name that I can't remember. It's fine. Yeah, it was great.
For sure. Any other highlights I'm trying to think of? I mean, it was all spectacular. Of course, I did some of the classic Disneyland things like great moments with Mr. Lincoln, Matterhorn for the first time. All great. Some of the classic dark rides.
Mr. Toad.
Ooh, yeah. Snow White's Scary Adventures. Still scary. Ugh. Yeah. But, it's a beautiful place, and I really loved it. And I'm sure there are way more highlights than I'm even remembering right now. But Galaxy's Edge for sure is a standout, even for me. But, I miss it. I do. I miss it.
Me too. It's my favorite place.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. It's hard for me to say that just because Walt Disney World is the park that I grew up with. But there
you
is
can
something
say
special.
it if you want to, though. Like, it's okay.
There's something special about Disneyland. I will say that. And of course, you know, you get to see the apartment. You see the lamp up there where Walt's apartment is. And yeah, miss it already.
Yeah.
So it's great. Yeah. Okay. Well, are you ready to move on to the D23 EXPO, Katie?
I think so.
Okay. So we went to all 3 days of D23 EXPO 2019, and let's just go in like order of how this all went down. So day 1, Katie, you got in line pretty early. You had a gold member pass. I actually had a media pass for a seat at the Disney Legends Awards. We both got in there, and yeah, we had a great lineup for the Legends this year. We had Robert Downey Jr., of course, from Iron Man. We had Ming-Na Wen, the voice of Mulan, my personal favorite. We had some broadcasting legends like Diane Sawyer, Robin Roberts. We had Christina Aguilera. Of course, she was on the Mickey Mouse Club. She also recorded Reflection, the pop version from Mulan. And I think we were all kind of waiting on Bette Midler, and then she wasn't able to be there.
I know,
She had some weather
so sad.
issues. Yeah. But her daughter accepted the award, and her daughter looks so much like her.
It's crazy.
Insane. Who else? Kenny Ortega.
John Favreau.
John Favreau. There were some people
James
who
Earl
had
Jones was honored, but he was not
Yes.
there. And then there was somebody else who could not be there who was also honored, and I'm blanking on who it was now.
Hans Zimmer.
Oh, yeah.
And then there were 2 parks.
Yeah,
Imagineer.
Barnett and I don't remember the other man's name, but I can picture him in my mind.
Yes. And I hate to even do that because, you know, like, they're so important.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. And Christina Aguilera was so funny. She was, like, fangirling over them, so that was cool.
Was she funny?
Well.
She was getting on my nerves. I'm sorry.
Her speech was a little rough.
But she sang Reflection at the start of the ceremony, and that was amazing. So I'll give her that.
Oh, my word.
That was great.
It was... Okay, and the thing is, sometimes when I see videos and live performances from Christina Aguilera, like on TV, it's like, girl, calm down with your runs and stuff. I mean, I know that's what she does, but it's like, But in person, I don't know. It was just flawless. I was like, come on. It was great. I loved it. But yeah, I loved the Disney Legends Awards. We got to experience that for the first time. They showed us a sizzle reel at the very beginning that Bob Iger introduced. And that just got me so pumped for the whole expo.
It did. I mean, that had like a couple new clips from Rise of Skywalker in it. And I was like, oh my God, they just showed new clips from Rise of Skywalker. So that kind of freaked me out right off the bat. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of like a montage of everything that was going to come this weekend. So that was a really great way to kick things off.
Yeah, definitely. So then after Disney Legends, we got right in line for the Disney Plus panel, which, I mean, come on. I think we can both agree that was honestly the best part of the whole weekend. Unexpectedly so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody really knew what to expect because Disney Plus is a new thing. It's, you know, not coming out until November. We've known for a while kind of what sorts of shows and movies are going to be on there, but you know, we really just didn't know what to expect from this panel. And honestly, I thought that the emphasis was mostly going to be just on shows that were going to be on at launch, which of course they did talk about those, like, you know, Mandalorian, Lady and the Tramp. They kicked it all off with a performance from the new High School Musical cast. But there were so many surprises. It was so great. And like the highlights of both our weekends, I think, happened during that panel. Well, I know for you and for me too, honestly.
Okay, which one of us is going first? Because
you just go.
Okay. Well, I'll go first because mine happened towards the beginning and yours happened at the very end.
Yes.
But I think the first kind of section that they introduced was the content that was going to be kind of from the Disney Channel group. And, they talked about a Phineas and Ferb movie that's coming out. But I think it was the second thing that they presented. And okay, prior to this happening, prior to D23, I was joking and saying Hilary Duff's going to be there to announce the Lizzie McGuire reboot. I was really joking about it all week long, was I not?
You were, no, because I kept asking you, like, so are you interested in the Disney Plus panel? And you're like, well, yeah, because that's where Hilary Duff's going to come out and announce this reboot. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, but there was no legitimate,
There's no reason to believe that was actually happening.
Yeah. Although the day before, Disney Plus followed her on Instagram. So it was like, that might be a little hint. And I even looked at you right before we went in there and showed you where on her Instagram she had posted a quote that said, "Today is a good day to have a good day." And I was like, am I reading too much into this? A little backstory. I'm the #1 Hilary Duff fan, one of the top Hilary Duff fans in the world. And Lizzie McGuire is my all-time favorite TV show, changed my life. So, yes. So when they came out here and they announced they were making a Lizzie McGuire reboot, they were talking it up. They were like, I know we have some millennials who are big fans of this show, and we're excited to announce that we're going to be rebooting Lizzie McGuire for the streaming service. And they put up the old logo. Then they did a fake out, which, okay. And mind you, I had been scrolling on Twitter right before this happened because we could have our phones out in this panel. We just couldn't take video, or we weren't supposed to. And I saw it leaked like seconds before they announced it that she was going to be coming back, that Hilary was. So I had shown you on Twitter where I was seeing it, but then I had just kind of stopped looking at Twitter because I wanted to just hear it. But they did this fake out, and the guy was like, we auditioned thousands of girls, and they started showing pictures of all these girls, and I was like, what? Because mind you, once I saw that on Twitter where it said Hilary Duff is going to reprise her role, I mean, I felt weak. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know how I was going to handle this. And so when he started saying that, I was like, no, like, please tell me that Hilary is like not reprising her role as like a guest star or something. Like, no, that is not what is about to happen. And so then he kept going. He's like, but we think we found the best Lizzie 2.0. And he said, when people ask me what is so different about this new Lizzie, I'm going to tell them she grew up. And it was like, oh my gosh. And so then he said, please welcome the one, the only, the irreplaceable Lizzie McGuire herself, Hilary Duff. And she came out, and I rose to my feet. I said, Hilary. And I mean, best moment of my life, not even kidding, because there I was, like, I have never seen Hilary Duff in person, never went to one of her concerts. My parents didn't take me to her book signing when she did a book tour. We were 6 hours away from one of her signings, and we didn't go. So this was a big moment to be there in the same room. We weren't all that far. I'm not good at math and like distance and stuff, but we weren't that far.
I mean, the thing with that Hall D23 room is it's not stadium seating, so you're all sitting on one level, so it's kind of hard to see above people when you're sitting. But if you kind of get up a bit, you can, you can see people's faces on the stage. Like, we could see.
I could see her. Yeah, we were.
Well, you're taller than me, so.
Well, yeah. I mean, we were close enough. But anyway, she came out and she talked about how they're bringing back the show. Lizzie is going to be a 30-year-old millennial living in New York. She's not a mom. She has her dream guy. She's working as an apprentice for this decorator, interior designer. And she kind of teased, everything's perfect for her right now. But of course, knowing Lizzie, things aren't going to stay that way. And I was so excited. Of course, seeing Hilary was amazing. But just getting to hear that, like, my all-time favorite TV show is coming back. And it's going to be the way that I wanted it. Because she's been dropping hints about this for a minute. And people, including myself, is like, please don't do this like they did with Raven Simone and like make it about Lizzie's kids. Like, we want to see Lizzie being 30, drinking wine. Like, please, like, give us the show that we want, And so that's what they're going to do, and I'm really excited. They've got the original creator, Terry Minsky, involved, and Hilary seems really ecstatic about it, which makes me so happy. And so I was really having a moment that day. I was having a moment. It was great. And I've thought about, kind of what I wanted to say about this. And it's just like Lizzie McGuire, it was a phenomenon for Disney Channel. And it was the first really phenomenon for Disney Channel. I think, you look at the three would be Lizzie McGuire, Hannah Montana, High School Musical for sure. And Lizzie McGuire was the first. I think it changed Disney Channel. I remember, I back in the day, like seeing numbers. I think it was averaging, millions and millions of viewers an episode. And so, yeah, it just changed the game for Disney Channel. It laid the platform for all these stars that came through after her. And, beyond that, the show itself was so good. It was perfect for that age group. And it's funny. I mean, I'll go back and watch it sometimes. And, it holds up in nostalgia for sure. I think it holds up a little bit outside of nostalgia, not so much. It's just, you watch it and it's very early 2000s. But there's some of the lines and stuff that I'll still just crack up at because they are really funny. And of course, the character of Lizzie was relatable. Hillary herself was really relatable. The movie is great. They played What Dreams Are Made Of before the panel. And yeah, it's so exciting. And I just cannot wait to see this. And we don't have a release date or anything about when that'll be on the streaming service. But yeah, best moment of my life, best moment of the D23 Expo for me. And now I'll move on. I could not focus after that for a while, but I know that they announced Monsters at Work, and which it doesn't look like it's going to really involve Mike and Sully.
No. It's some other monster, like one who, the premise was this monster was in school learning to scare, and then as soon as he graduates, they change from scaring to laughter.
Right. Yeah.
Which honestly, I think is really funny. The more I think about it, I'm like, relatable.
Right. Yeah. And there's going to be a Forky series, a Forky short series, a Muppet Shorts series.
That was great.
Yeah.
Of course, they talked about Marvel, too. You can't forget Marvel.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was just getting through the Disney Channel stuff, but they did a whole section of Marvel. I was still blacked out for most of that. But, you want to take over for that? Because I know you were excited.
I mean, I actually am kind of excited about the new Marvel stuff. I mean, they released more info about all this at San Diego Comic-Con last month. But, they kind of brought up the Loki show. They talked about WandaVision and described it as being kind of a sitcom, which I'm really intrigued by. And they brought out Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen and kind of showed a little clip with, kind of showing the vibe that they're going for, like an old school I Love Lucy type sitcom. So really interested to see how that plays out. There was Falcon and Winter Soldier. They brought out Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan. And then they showed the first trailer for the animated show What If, which was really cool. It's basically reimagining all of these characters and stories and, kind of pondering what else could happen with them. And at the end, they brought out Haley Atwell, who plays Peggy Carter. I love her. Peggy Carter is absolutely one of my favorite Marvel characters. I'm still bitter about Agent Carter being canceled. So it's really awesome to see her character appearing in this series and, getting to see her be an action hero. It's really cool. So that was great. I honestly I think that was it for Marvel, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they also announced some other shows where we just got a logo, like She-Hulk. Oh
my gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah, they announced the 3 other shows that were on their slate. So yeah, She-Hulk, Moon Knight, and then the one that I'm most excited about, Miss Marvel. So yeah, those are all going to be shows coming to the streaming service too. So yeah, really exciting things coming from Marvel, more female superheroes. Again, we really didn't see a whole lot of footage because they haven't actually started production on most of these yet, but yeah, it's cool. I'm not a huge Marvel fan, but I'm honestly excited to see them, taking the characters in different directions. So
yeah. You're a bigger Marvel fan than me, but
I keep saying that I'm not, but then I get really excited about this stuff, and I'm like, maybe I am. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. And we saw, before we move on to Star Wars, we saw some live action Disney stuff. We saw the first trailer for Lady and the Tramp. It looks cute. I like the diversity of the cast. And yeah, I mean, it looks cute. Like, that's about it.
That's about all you can say about it, honestly. I mean,
those dogs have more expression than any of the characters in The Lion King. So
yeah, it's still a little weird, but
yeah,
that's fine.
Well, it's like they've got real dogs, but then they animate the faces. I mean, we've seen that technology.
Which they brought
before.
the real dogs out on stage, which was very cute.
Yeah, it was cute. Gotta love the dogs.
Yeah.
And we saw this comedy that's coming out called Noelle with Anna Kendrick and Billy Eichner, who both came out.
Yes, Billy.
And it's like Santa Claus's daughter. So that looks fun, a nice little holiday movie that'll be on there. And yeah, I'm trying to think of some other stuff. We didn't mention... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I can't remember where this fit in the panel, but Kristen Bell has that series Encore, so they showed footage
the documentary
from that.
stuff.
Yes, the whole documentary section. Yes, exactly.
That...
And the one day at Disney and all of that, yeah.
Woo. Yes. So Kristen Bell is doing a show called, what's it called? Encore.
Yeah.
Encore, and it's about taking adults who were in their high school's musical productions and bringing them back together to do a production again as adults. Love it. Love the concept. And it looks really great. And they also had some other documentaries. You just mentioned the one day one where we're going to see what it's like working at Disneyland or Disney parks or being a Disney cast member in general, just around the world, all on one day. There's like a coinciding book that's coming out with it too.
I'm going to cry.
Disney did tease that as like a big secret project, which,
I mean, it wasn't like a huge... like reveal to get it super excited for. I think it's really cool. But that was like on their schedule for D23 as like secret project reveal, and everybody was like, oh my god, what could this be? So I think some people were kind of let down by that, but I think it's gonna be cool. I'm excited.
Yeah. I think it'll be great. I thought the documentary stuff looked great. I was going to mention that we didn't talk about the footage we saw from High School Musical, the series, but I'm not mad about it.
I mean, I'm gonna watch it, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think it looks fun. It looks like kind of, a little bit self-deprecating, toward the original series, series of films and all of that. Definitely a different. Feels like a more mature tone when I look back on it. Definitely, but. I mean, I'm excited to, I love High School Musical. We both do. So I'm excited to kind of relive that in a way and hear all the music again. And
yeah. Well, I loved kind of what they said. They were like, we've been trying to come up with a way to bring this series back for like 10 years. And this is what they came up with. And it's a mockumentary style series where they're saying in this universe that the series takes place in, this is where the High School Musical movies were filmed. So the real East High is where this is taking place. And the students at this school where High School Musical was filmed are going to be putting on the first ever production, that school's first ever production of High School Musical. So they've got drama, relationships and whatnot. So it looks cute. And of course you get the High School Musical music in there, and that trailer's out, of course. It was released simultaneously, so people have seen it now. But yeah, I'm gonna watch it. We heard a lot of High School Musical music throughout the whole weekend, so they were really trying to hype us up.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think the concept of the show really only just now clicked with me while you were talking. So
I thought you got it.
I mean, like kind of, but not really.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a little confusing, to be honest.
And I mean, the title though. Somebody tweeted, they were like, "This title gives me a stroke," and I was like, "Oh my gosh." So same. Anyway. Okay, so then moving on to Star Wars, because I know you're really excited about this. We saw the Mandalorian trailer.
Well, back up. There was more before that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Clone Wars.
There was more before that. Hang on. I'll just talk about it.
Okay.
So Star Wars closed out the panel. It was the big final thing. And they really talked about everything that they've announced before that's coming to Disney+. So they finally gave us a release date for the new season of Clone Wars, February 2020. Showed a new piece of art from it. That was great. I'm excited. Then they brought out Diego Luna and Alan Tudyk to talk a bit about the Cassian Andor series that they haven't started filming yet. They couldn't really say much about it except that they're excited about it. But, it was cool to see them, and that's going to be, beginning filming next year. And then Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and the cast of The Mandalorian came out, and they debuted really the first official trailer for the series. And I had seen some footage at Celebration earlier this year that was never released online, but this trailer was all new. It was really like a legit trailer, whereas before I had just seen like a couple scenes from it and some behind the scenes stuff. It's going to be very, I don't know, like it's different. It's a lot more gritty than the movies, but it definitely has the same production value as the films too. And I'm just really interested in what Jon Favreau had to say about there's something for everyone in this series, whether you like the prequels or the original trilogy or the new movies or the extended universe. And I love all of that. So I'm excited to see how they bring all of that into this series that takes place after Return of the Jedi. So, yeah. What did you think about The Mandalorian? Any thoughts?
What you hit on where you were saying, it matches the quality of the movies, because that was something that, I mean, I wasn't concerned about it. I just really wanted that to happen. So, yeah, it clearly does. And I think that can be said across everything we saw from this panel. Like everything looked, Netflix level, because this doesn't look like some TV budget,
no
production stuff they've got going on. This looks high quality and good. And The Mandalorian, for sure does. So yeah, I mean, I was excited about it too, but I definitely was more excited about the final announcement.
So honestly, this final announcement, like I thought Mandalorian was going to be the big thing, but I honestly, I need to watch the Mandalorian trailer again because what happened next just erased it from my memory. I have to be honest. So people were actually starting to get up and leave at this point after they showed that trailer. And Kathy Kennedy was on the stage and she was like, "Oh, don't go. We have one more announcement." And I was just sitting there my mind was honestly racing. What could this be? What could this be? Because I had no idea. They had already talked about everything I thought they were going to talk about. And a couple weeks before the expo, these rumors about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series started to surface again. And this series has been rumored for literally years. I had a Facebook memory pop up a couple weeks ago that was from 2 years ago that was about the Obi-Wan series. I mean, it's just and I was at the point, I think I told you at some point, before the expo, I'm not going to believe it's actually happening until Ewan McGregor is standing on stage at the Disney Plus panel.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm not going to believe it. And in that moment, I kind of forgot about that. I was just like, what could this be? What could this be? And then she said after, rumors and speculation, and when she said that, I was like, oh my God. In my mind, I was like, oh my God, it's happening. Obi-Wan is happening. It's happening. And then they played the Duel of the Fates music from Phantom Menace. And, and she was like, we're bringing out a beloved member of the Star Wars community. And then Ewan McGregor walked out on stage and people went crazy. And he turned to Kathy Kennedy and he said, "Can you please, in front of all of these people, ask me if I'm going to play Obi-Wan Kenobi again?" And she asked him, "Are you going to play Obi-Wan Kenobi again?" And he just turns to the audience and he's like, "Yes." It was great.
I got chills just now. It was so exciting.
It was. I keep watching that clip over and over again, honestly, just because his voice, when he says yes, you can hear just all that relief. I think he really does. He has wanted to reprise this role for a while. He's said in interviews, if they ask me to play Obi-Wan again, I'll do it. So I think it was as much a relief for him as it was for all of the fans. It was great.
Yeah.
And, I got into Star Wars because of Phantom Menace, and I feel like the prequel trilogy never gets any love, but this year has really been kind of a prequel renaissance, and just seeing a major player from that trilogy being brought back into Star Wars on a big new project, it's so exciting. I'm so happy. It was great. Right. It was definitely the highlight for me.
Yeah. And they said they'd already written 8 scripts.
Yeah. Yeah, they said they'd already written pretty much everything, and I guess production and filming starts sometime next year. So, maybe we'll be seeing that, and I would assume 2021 probably.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, that was a great panel, and we both took advantage of the deal that they were having for Disney Plus where we could get it, for like almost $4 a month. So for 3 years.
Yeah.
So,
I know.
good deal.
There's a part of me that's like, I hate myself for signing up for 3 years of a service that doesn't even come out for another 3 months. But also, like, they sold me so hard. That's literally the first thing that I did after we walked out of that panel was go buy Disney Plus. So, I mean, I was very susceptible to their marketing. They did a good job.
Yeah, it was great. And again, that was honestly the highlight. It's like, it's only down from here, but really there's so much more that we have to talk about. I don't think we'll spend as much time on the rest of the stuff, though, because they set the bar high on Friday.
They really did.
And that was really all we got to do the first day. We walked around the show floor a little bit that night. After we walked around the show floor, that's when we had to go get in line for the overnight line, the overnight queue.
I'm sorry.
For the next day. Ooh. I don't even want to talk about that, but really quickly, I'll just say we got in this overnight line for the studios panel, and we had these blow-up little mattresses that it was going to be comfy, it was going to be fine, and they changed the rules, or I don't know, implemented new rules at the last minute, and they said no inflatables, they said no blankets, you can only have, or no, they said no pillows, you could have blankets.
Yeah, no chairs. At first they were saying pillows, and then we were like in the line for a bit, and then they came through and they were like, actually, you can't have pillows now either. And it was like, oh my God. People around us were throwing a fit. Anyway.
Yeah. And I really thought that this wasn't going to be that bad. It was pretty bad. It was rough.
I did it last time. I knew it was going to be bad.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
I just thought like, nah, this will be fine. But it was cold in that basement.
Honestly, if it had not been so cold in there, I would have been so much better. But I kept like trying to lay down and go to sleep, and I kept not being able to sleep because I was so cold. Yeah.
Not to mention they had the TVs blaring down there. Mm-hmm. And like people were snoring. This one girl beside us, she slept like a baby.
She slept so good. She probably slept for 10 hours in that line.
Like, she was even sleeping like up to the last second, honestly. So,
oh my God.
And she had wrapped herself up in like...
She just had like a space blanket. That was it. And she was like had her head on her backpack. But she like did not look that comfortable, but she must have been fine.
Yeah. I don't even know. I just
I'm sorry I put you through that. We probably could have gotten in line later, honestly. It's just hard to know.
It was worth it. Like, I can say now that I've done it. Would I do it again? I probably would not wait in that overnight line again. Like, I probably wouldn't, honestly. I would have done it for Hillary Duff. I would have done it. But anyway, okay. So the studios panel, after I don't know how many hours we waited in that line. It was 12 hours.
It would have been, well, maybe a little bit longer than
maybe
that.
Maybe 13.
If you include the time we spent waiting outside before we finally got into the room. I think we got in line at like 8:30 that night.
Oh, and the panel was at 10 a.m. the next morning. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it was a good panel. It wasn't as exciting as the Disney Plus panel, to be completely honest. And I think we both kind of came to the conclusion that, like, this wasn't a year where they had a ton of stuff to show us, particularly from Star Wars and Marvel. They actually started with Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, and we expected that to be the grand finale.
I was not prepared.
Yeah. So the cast came out, which was great, and then we saw, it wasn't really a trailer, it was more like an exclusive first look that just got put on the internet 3 days later.
I was kind of expecting them to do a sizzle reel, behind-the-scenes reel like they did for Last Jedi at D23 EXPO. I was not 100% sure that we were getting any new footage at all when we were going into this panel. So I was really honestly blown away by what they showed us. And basically half of this, trailer, if you call it that, was clips from the entire saga. Mm-hmm. And I won't get into analyzing it, but I think they definitely picked those clips with a purpose. But anyway, and then they showed us new footage from the Rise of Skywalker. That was just crazy. That ended, and we still had an entire 2-hour panel to sit through. And I was just sitting there like, oh my God, what did I just watch?
Well, and we got to talk about the big moment of that reel. I mean,
Dark Rey.
Yeah. We see Rey. She has on like a dark cloak and a double-bladed red lightsaber.
Mm-hmm. It's the same lightsaber that the Jedi Temple guards have, if you're familiar with them.
Interesting. Yeah. Any theories yet on that?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm still unpacking everything. I honestly can't even.
Yeah. I think the day before where I had to calm down after Lizzie McGuire, you had to calm down after Star Wars. And then we went into Marvel. We saw a lot, actually, from Black Widow. We saw a trailer and a scene. That has not dropped online yet. So that was exclusive for sure. It looks cool. I'm not, particularly excited about it, but it looked cool.
I mean, I don't really know how they expect us to get invested in a movie when they just killed her off in Endgame for no reason. But anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
And Scarlett Johansson's kind of nowadays anyway.
I feel the same way. Oh, yeah, I feel the same way for sure. They announced the release date for the next Black Panther, which doesn't really have a title, but they were just calling it Black Panther 2 for now. They brought out the director. And what did they say?
May 6, 2022.
Oh, okay.
Or 20.
Yeah, it's a ways
away.
I
feel like it's 2022.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was pretty far away. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else did they?
They brought out the cast of the Eternals, which is coming out next year. That's a big cast.
It was, yeah.
Angelina Jolie, Kumail Nanjiani, Richard Madden. I can't even remember who else. It's just a massive ensemble cast.
Right. And it was crazy just how they just brought them out there. I mean, I know this is how it goes every time, but this was the first time me seeing that they just bring them out there for a couple of minutes and they don't really say much and then they send them on back.
Yeah, it's just all it's totally different than any other Comic-Con. It's not Q&A. It's just it's promotion.
Yeah, it's a presentation. Yeah. And then moving on to Disney live action, we got two first looks at the Jungle Cruise. We got 2 trailers.
Yeah.
I don't think those are out yet. Those aren't online.
I haven't seen them, no.
No, yeah. So we saw 2 different trailers. One was from the perspective of Dwayne Johnson's character, the other from the perspective of Emily Blunt's, which is really funny. They had a great banter on stage and they did this whole skit sort of thing. So that was cute. And
Dwayne Johnson came out on a literal boat.
Yeah.
So.
And then what'd she come out in? A car?
Yeah, I think she came out in a Jeep or something.
Yeah. So that was fun. That'll be out next year. I liked the Emily Blunt trailer better.
Yeah, well, I just like Emily Blunt better in general.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, it kind of, when I think back on it, gives me a little bit of Brendan Fraser Mummy vibes.
Yeah.
And I love that movie, so I hope it's kind of similar to that, in terms of a good comedy adventure.
Yeah. And Dwayne Johnson was we really, know how important that this attraction is to Disney fans. It was one of Walt Disney's original attractions. So they're we're doing it justice. So I hope that's true. And then let's see what else. The cast of Maleficent came out. That wasn't very exciting,
that was
honestly.
Weird.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie comes out fairly soon too. So it was did we have to spend that much time on it?
Right. And they didn't give Angelina Jolie a script and they needed to. She was just rambling,
it was
making stuff up. I was oh my gosh, because we could see the teleprompter behind us. I don't know if you had looked back.
Oh yeah, I looked back once and saw it, yeah.
And they didn't have anything up there for her. And I was just oh, bring it home. Come on, somebody help her out. But she tried. And then let's see, Mulan.
Yeah, we saw 2 scenes from Mulan.
And I'm frustrated about that. We saw the matchmaker scene. The director came out and talked about the movie, and they showed us those 2 clips. The matchmaker scene, I wasn't loving it.
I wasn't loving that either, honestly.
Yeah. Now, the second part that we saw, which was more action, I was okay, this is cool. But it wasn't, it was more just kind of shots edited together. It wasn't one long scene.
Well, they showed I guess it was technically part of the same sequence, but following the matchmaking scene, they show the father being called to war, and I thought that was really nice.
I liked that. That.
But yeah, I don't know, and I don't know if it's the scene itself or just because Mulan is both of our favorite Disney movies. Right. So I don't know if it's just my association with the original and loving that so much. It's kind of making me oh, this is different and weird. But yeah, kind of the humor in that scene didn't land as well, I felt and I feel the movie overall is going for a darker and more serious tone. So I don't know how that like really fit in with my perception of what this movie is going to be.
And we haven't talked about the trailer for that on this show, but I do like the trailer that they put out.
Me too, yeah.
So I'm hopeful. We'll see. I know they're doing some reshoots, or they were, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I wasn't jumping up and down about what I saw from Mulan. I'll say that. And then I'm trying to think what else we saw from live action Disney.
Cruella.
Oh yeah, Cruella. Yeah, that was maybe the one surprise from that whole panel. They just confirmed that Emma Stone is going to play Cruella. Also, Emma Thompson's going to be in the movie. But they showed
like a couple pictures of her in costume, and there was a video of Emma kind of talking about it a bit.
Right.
Because I think they're filming right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the controversial thing is, like, they say that this movie takes place in the 70s, and I think we were both like, wait, what?
This is not when the original movie takes place.
Yeah. That's not when the animated film takes place. But, like, I was thinking about it, and the 90s version, did that not take place in the 90s? Like, was that not supposed to be more of a present day thing?
I think it was.
Yeah. So I feel like if they're saying that this is a prequel to that, then I guess it would kind of make more sense.
I guess. I mean, I think that the era is definitely interesting. Like, I'm really excited to see more of the costumes and all of that. I mean, it's 1970s London, so it's going to be really, wild and crazy, I'm sure.
Yeah. That was really the one surprise for sure. Pixar, we saw a lot from the two new movies. They have Onward and Soul. Onward, they brought out Tom Holland and Chris Pratt. Let's just talk about Tom Holland for a minute, because one of the things that happened while we were at Disneyland was that it was announced that Sony and Disney, their deal is over for Spider-Man. So that's kind of up in the air. I don't guess we'll be getting another MCU movie with Spider-Man unless they work things out. But Tom Holland was like, it's been a crazy week, but I just want to say I love you 3000. And it felt so, unplanned. Like, it felt like he just kind of jumped in there and said that. And I was like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm over like the I love you 3000 thing, but yes, it was nice.
Yeah, overdone for sure. For sure. But that movie, Onward, not at all what I was expecting based on what they showed us, like the clips.
Yeah, with the dad and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I was not expecting that either.
Yeah, so this is like a movie about two brothers who they've lost their dad. It takes place in sort of this mystical world that is also contemporary. And yeah, basically they're going to try to bring back their dad with this spell, and only half of their dad's body is brought back. So the rest of the movie is about them trying to get the rest of his body back.
It's a little morbid.
Weird.
But,
Yeah. It's like resurrection. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly thought, well, when they set up the premise, I thought that they were going in a slightly different direction with the dad thing. So then when it was actually him that half appeared, I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, I thought they were going to conjure something else, maybe. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see, I think that the whole setup of this being like a modern world, but there are all these fantasy creatures, living in it. I think that that's really interesting. And, just the fact that all this like magic and spells is kind of a thing of the past for them. I'm really interested to see how that plays out. And knowing Pixar, it'll be really clever and
all
of that. So
for sure. And then the other movie was Soul. And that stars Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey. I was so excited to see Tina Fey. I think a lot of people were excited. And it's the first Pixar movie with like this predominantly African-American cast of not only voice actors, but also the characters themselves are African-American. And it's about this soul singer who falls down what did he fall down? Like a
manhole, right?
Pothole? Yeah. And then winds up in this world where it's how we create our souls or something, it had a little bit of an inside out vibe to it. But when he falls down that hole, he becomes like a different little creature. So he's not an African-American man anymore. And the first thing that I thought, I was like, oh no, like, didn't we just go through this with Princess and the Frog, where people, weren't happy that Disney's first African-American princess, and then most of the movie she's a frog.
Right. Yeah,
so
that's true.
Maybe that's not, the
majority
full story.
of the movie.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. But that was one of my concerns for sure. But like Felicia Rashad was brought out as one of the cast
Daveed
members.
Diggs from Hamilton. I love him.
And Questlove from the Roots band. So
good.
Yeah. I'm excited. Yeah, it looks good.
Me too.
And then, 3 Disney animated movies, I think?
No, there were just 2.
Frozen
and Raya.
I thought there was one more. Okay, yeah, I guess you're right. Well, let's start with Raya and the Last Dragon. Was it Raya or Raya?
I think it's Raya.
I thought it was Raya. Raya, and the Lost Dragon?
Last Dragon.
Last Dragon. Okay.
Come on.
Sorry. It looks good.
I think it looks really good. They showed us a scene from it, and the animation was just unreal.
Oh yeah.
It was beautiful. Yeah, this is a movie that's centered on Asian culture.
Right.
So they brought out the voice actors, included Awkwafina, and I forget, she voices like this dragon character, and then
who's also an old woman.
Oh yes, yeah. I honestly forget. Do you remember what the story's actually about? Because I don't.
No,
Okay.
I just remember the clip. It's like a little boy, or you're hearing a little boy tell the story. Anyway, yeah, no, I don't, but. It looks good, and like you said, the animation, like, ooh, it was good. Frozen 2 was the end of the panel.
It was.
And
ended it with a bang with your favorite.
We did. I don't know about that. I'm not a big fan of Frozen, the original, but they're kind of hooking me for Frozen 2.
What they showed us was good.
Yeah. So we saw a clip with a new Elsa song. The cast came out and sang a new song at the end. Just seeing the cast up there singing live was great.
It's great.
Seeing Jonathan Groff sing, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
So, yeah. But also I like where they're, kind of saying any of the questions you had about Frozen 1, like where did Elsa's powers come from? It's like, I had that question. And they're like, we're going to answer that in this movie. I'm like, okay, good. And they announced some new cast members. Sterling K. Brown from This Is Us is going to be joining the cast. Also, the other girl, forgetting her name.
Voices the mom.
Yes. Evan Rachel Wood?
Yes.
Is that it? Okay. Yes. So 2 new characters. The mom, that's going to be in a flashback, though. But apparently they are going to address what happens to Anna and Elsa's parents, like why they were on the ship.
Yeah, like
that,
where they were going. So
yeah.
I mean, it honestly, it kind of sounds like they listened to what people were calling out as flaws from the first film and holes in the story, and kind of going back and filling those in. So so interested to see where they go with that.
They said it's really going to make a complete story, like the first movie and the second movie combined. It's really going to be one complete story. So I think that's cool. That was the end of that panel. Didn't end with flying snowflake confetti. It ended with leaves, because the new movie is like they're going to be in an enchanted forest, which I should say, like all of the Disney and Pixar stuff, it was all very enchanted, mystical fantasy, I will say.
True.
So
yeah,
that was interesting that all those movies had that same kind of vibe. Okay. That was the studios panel. I went and took an hour-long nap afterward to make up for the maybe like 20 minutes of sleep that I got the night before. And then we went to probably my second highlight of the whole, like second place for me at D23 was the Broadway, 25 years of Broadway, 25th anniversary concert.
It was so good.
It was everything. Oh, they were so good. Namely, like Ashley Brown, Heidi Blickenstaff.
Yeah, I mean, they were all people who had like worked who had done like Disney on Broadway shows in some capacity before.
Yes. And the man who was Tarzan on Broadway, he was so good.
He was really good. He was probably my favorite.
I think so too, yeah. And he did, what is it, My Sweetest Suit from...
My Strongest Suit
from
Aida, which is my favorite song from Aida. And that song is traditionally sung by a woman. I've never heard a man sing that song, but that was like amazing. That was my favorite part. It was so good.
And we weren't supposed to take videos in that, but I'm hoping it winds up on YouTube. They released like a highlight reel for the press, which I sent to you, Katie, but it doesn't have like everything. Like I want more.
No, it doesn't have my favorite parts.
Right.
But it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they really like represented every Disney on Broadway show, including Freaky Friday and including Hercules, which is only just about to open in previews in New York. Which I was wondering before the panel, like, do you think they're going to do anything from Hercules? Like, that would be so amazing because I love the music from Hercules. I'm really excited for the theatrical version. I really hope it goes to Broadway.
Yeah.
But they did. They did 3 songs. It's great.
Yes. Newsies was represented. Love Newsies. So it was good. And they ended with Frozen. They ended with Let It Go. And when Ashley Brown did Feed the Birds,
yeah.
my gosh. I think the Mary Poppins
so
stuff,
good.
like that was the crowd-pleasing moments for sure.
Well, I mean, that was the original Mary and Bird.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was amazing.
Yes. And the stuff from The Lion King, like when that girl did Shadowland.
Shadowlands. That was amazing.
Yeah. Like I said, that was a close number 2 for me because it was that good.
It wasn't like a panel that was giving you information. It was just great performances.
And just like the tone of the whole show, like they were all super playful about it, and I loved it. So good job to them. Man, so good. What else did we do day 2? I guess we walked around the floor maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I don't remember what we did because we were originally going to go to the Aladdin panel that was that evening, but the Broadway thing got pushed up, I think because the studios ran long.
Yeah.
Basically, all of the panels that weekend ran long by like a lot.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think we did anything like specific. I think we just walked around.
Yeah. And then after Broadway, you went to dinner and I went to sleep. So
yes. I did not sleep at all the night before and I was still out past midnight somehow.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but it
was great.
I was well rested for day 3. I felt great going in for the 3rd day. And we started the day with the Little Mermaid 30th anniversary panel. Loved it. Super cute. We skipped the parks panel and we missed Dick Van Dyke announcing the Mary Poppins attraction. But you know what? I saw videos of that and he really didn't come out and he was just there, you know.
He really just like came out and kind of like said hi and then left.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even say anything about the attraction. Like I watched the whole panel online a couple days ago. I mean, like it was a good panel. It was a cool moment.
Right.
But yeah.
I mean, and just to touch on that, I mean, even though we weren't there, you know, total overhaul coming to Epcot, like the biggest overhaul at a Disney park ever. There's going to be a new Walt statue. People are really excited about that. New parade coming to Disneyland. The Star Wars Hotel.
Talked about, the Galactic Star Cruiser. Yeah, I'm really excited about all the parks announcements, honestly. Like, I was watching that panel back just to make sure I didn't miss any important information. And, man, it's all so good.
Yeah. I'm excited. But we did skip it for Little Mermaid because Little Mermaid, loved that movie. And it was like the first movie that really just set off my Disney obsession. And Jodie Benson, I mean, come on. And they started with like these little girls dressed up as Ariel and they sang a little bit of Part of Your World. And then Jodie Benson came out and finished the song. And it was great. And then she was the moderator. She did a great job at moderating, I have to say. And they brought out Ron Clements. And John was not there, but it's okay. John Musker. But we had Ron. We had some of the animators from the film. We saw a great video message from Pat Carroll, who's the voice of Ursula.
That was so good.
Yeah.
Love her.
Yeah. I mean, there was a video message, but there was also just like this interview, and it was really great to see her up there. So that was nice. And let's see, other highlights. And I should say, you know, I'm a huge Little Mermaid. Like that's my favorite moment in Disney history, the Renaissance, in the beginning of the Renaissance. And I've seen so much footage from behind the scenes of that movie, and they showed stuff that I'd never seen before. So that was really neat. And then, so the big surprise, I guess, at the end that Jodie Benson kind of teased at the beginning, I was wondering if it was going to be about, you know, the live action Little Mermaid movie. Instead, it wound up being about the ABC Live Little Mermaid show that they're going to do this fall. So they brought out Ali E. Carvalho, which was nice. And Jodie Benson kind of passed the baton to her, and they, you know, kind of shared advice or whatever. So that was neat. It was a nice little surprise. They also did, the finale was Under the Sea, but we got to talk about the awkward kiss the girl
That was
situation.
weird.
Yeah. So they did this thing where they were like going to recreate Kiss the Girl, and they brought 3 men from the audience, and then they did like the audience vote by clapping, and they kept one guy, and then they bring out a boat, well, a cardboard boat, and they like have Jodie Benson sitting beside him, and they sing Kiss the Girl, and Jodie's like, no, my husband's in the audience, what's going on? No. It was kind of, I mean, we both sort of said we don't think Jodie knew about that ahead of time.
And she seemed like genuinely like not sure what to do.
Well, he kissed her on the cheek, so yeah, it was a little cringy, a little, just a little. But I thoroughly enjoyed that. You know, one of my favorite Disney movies. Do you enjoy that panel? It was good.
I did. Yeah, it was really entertaining, and I'm glad that we went to that one.
Yeah,
just hearing Jodie sing for a bit was great.
Yeah, my 3rd time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so then that was the day where we mostly walked around the show floor for the first time, and highlights from that, I mean, well, first of all, I got to interview Floyd Norman, Disney legend. I mean, that was awesome. I asked him like one question that turned into 2, but loved that. And I'll just, tease my content. It's on my YouTube channel. I did some content for my news station that I work at, so you can go check that stuff out, including my Floyd Norman interview. So it was really fun doing all that. And yeah, I mean, I know you liked the costume.
Yes, that was really cool. The Heroes and Villains costume exhibit that was presented by the Walt Disney Archives. Mm-hmm. That was really cool. It was really big. They had so many movies represented, from, older films to current films. Even like TV shows, like there was some Once Upon a Time in there.
Cinderella from ABC, Wonderful World of Disney.
Yeah, Brandy. I mean, like I was not expecting that. That was as soon as you walk in, I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it was really good. I love that sort of stuff. So I was taking pictures of everything and really trying to look at everything and all of the details. And it was really cool. Really cool. Really enjoyed it.
We went over to the Disney Plus area and did a Q&A with Christy Carlson Romano, the voice of Kim Possible, and from Even Stevens. I enjoyed that because I loved both of those shows and I love her. And yeah, that was cool. And we all sang the Kim Possible theme song with her. I mean, come on.
That was fun.
Yeah. Well, as we wrap up, the last panel that we went to, and I mean, this was literally the end because when it was over, they were like, get out.
Pretty much, yeah.
But it was the Tarzan 20th anniversary panel. I gotta be honest, it was probably my least favorite thing. It was good, but now that I've seen the Disney Voices like 30th anniversary panel, I really wish we would have done that instead. But at the moment, like I really wanted to go do Tarzan. And I liked it. We saw a lot of stuff that I'd never seen before, behind the scenes clips. We saw director, producer. Yeah, I mean, what'd you think of that panel? It was interesting.
I thought it was interesting. Like there wasn't any point where I was like, oh, this panel's boring, or
right.
They're giving me information that I already know. Like you said, they showed a lot of cool behind the scenes stuff, and yeah, I mean, I liked it. The Voices panel was definitely more like they had a lot of big names and like more performance type things. This was more just discussions about the movie and the making of it. But yeah, I mean, it was good. I liked it, but it did run very long.
It did. And they talked a little bit about the technology that was used for the film that was really innovative at the time. And I thought that was great. And they showed Glenn Keane's work and how he animated around computer generated stuff. So yeah, I mean, it was all really interesting. It was just, compared to the other stuff that we'd been to, it wasn't my favorite thing. And they did run long, and it was rushed at the end, which was a little frustrating. And then, so the very end of the panel turned into like a little concert / promotion for
Matthew Morrison.
He has a new Disney album coming out, and yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't really care for that. It was fine, but... It
was fine. It was just like, why is this at the end of a panel about Tarzan?
Yeah. Like, he sang a Tarzan song, but
then he sang, like, more songs that were not Tarzan.
Yeah. It was weird. Like, yeah. But anyway, that was the end. And then we went outside. We took our pictures. Unfortunately, we had to take them in the dark, but it's whatever. And then we went to, I mean, I'm just like totally finishing up the whole trip, but like we went to, what was the restaurant we went to at downtown?
Trader Sam's, my favorite.
Yeah, I liked that. Like, that was the most relaxing part of the whole trip, honestly.
Truly.
It was great. It was great. Like, it was great. But yeah, I mean, just my overall thoughts about D23 again. I will say it, like, one of the best experiences ever. Exceeded my expectations. Beyond. It was so good. Loved it. Can't wait to do it again.
It was so good. Like I hesitated about going this year for a bit, namely just because of Galaxy's Edge. And I was like, oh, I want to make sure, like, if I'm going to Anaheim, I want to be when Galaxy's Edge is open, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just so glad that I ended up going to this. After I went for the first time in 2017, I just had such an amazing time and was so blown away by everything that they showed us and everything we got to do that it's just going to be hard to, like, ever miss one of these.
Yeah.
Like, they just really, like, Disney just knows how to put on a show, and it's unlike any other convention that's out there, really, just in terms of the talent that they bring and the performance aspect and the footage that they show that really is exclusive. I mean, there's a lot of things that they show at these panels that we don't see until a year and a half, 2 years later. So it's just really great if you're a Disney fan. Like, you just have to go.
Can't wait to do it again. It's going to be great.
Yes, 2021.
So, yeah. Yes, can't wait. Counting down already. Well, Katie, I'm so glad we got to do this episode, and, you know, we'll do another episode of this when the time comes. I can't say that it'll be coming anytime soon, but eventually, and I want to finish up our live action series that just, I don't know what happened. But
I don't
anyway.
even remember when we last did that. But.
Yeah, it's been a long time. One day. Okay. Well, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Disconnected. Katie, thanks so much for joining me as always.
Thank you for having me.
For sure. And you can find mine and Katie's social media links in the description below. And until next time, have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon, folks.